Oh, it's cold today. Hi everybody, all my followers, be welcome to another video. Right, as you've seen, the video today is going to be on this 2008 Audi S5. The engine on this is the first time I work on this, on one of these. I believe this is the 4.2 liter V8. Now the car came to me to do a service, a basic service, oil, filters, etc. I was also requested to do the spark plugs on this. I don't think those will be making into videos, it's just basic stuff. But there is a couple things the guy asked me to look at. Apparently there is a few lights on. I don't know if those lights or whatever is causing those lights. I haven't even turned the ignition on, guys, believe me or not. The car was dropped here a few days ago, and this is the first time I unlocked this car, so I haven't even started it. He said to me there is a couple lights on. I don't know what is causing those lights, so I don't know if they're going to make into a video, so I'm not going to mention that for now. But there is one thing that the guy raised, which is that apparently the start and stop button does not always work. He said sometimes you need to press the button a few times for the car to actually start, or for the ignition to come back on, to come on. So that's what we're going to be looking at, I guess. So yeah. Okay, and after a little bit of testing, so I wouldn't be here wasting my time going through live date, codes, etc. There is a few codes on the car. Let me show you. There is actually loads of codes on the car. Oh, I have ignition off. Sorry about that. Okay, so all these modules are reporting faults. Okay. Now, I don't see nothing wrong with the button. That button is working perfect. I think the guy is just confused on how this works. So, maybe some of you that owns this car is going to come back and say, no, actually you should do something different. I believe this is how it should work. So this is actually a keyless system, so I can just have the key here, and I can easily, without pressing any pedals, I can turn the ignition off, just like that, or I can turn on the ignition, so completely off, sorry. So you press it twice, so ignition on, so the key is inside the car, key comes on, etc, etc. Now if I press once, I turn the dash off, that stays on. I press it twice and everything goes off. So this is just by pressing the button here. If I press the brake pedal and my clutch, and I press that from ignition completely off, the car will start. So I'm going to show you. And there it is, engine is running. So if I turn the ignition off, everything off, so everything is off. So if I just press that to turn the ignition on, ignition comes on. Now if I press the pedals, I can start the engine, no problem at all. Now I think what the guy was doing, and I might be wrong here, let me show you. Let me turn everything off. So if I put the key on in the slot and push it in, the ignition will come on, but now the car will not start. Let me press the pedals, it will not start from here anymore. To start the car now, you press the key in. There we go. So I think it's just the way it works. And I think the guy is just confused. So once you have the key in the slot, this button only turns the engine off, but no longer turns the engine on. Now, I might be wrong, because if there's something wrong with the button, even though we have that code for the button, I think if there's something really wrong with the button will fail to work, even with the key out of the lock. So, there we go. So, I don't think there's nothing wrong with the system. I think it's just the guy that has been probably put in the car. I'll have to speak with him. But I've been here trying for ages. For some time, and it's been working perfect every single time as far as I do it this way. If I put the key in there, then the car will not start from the button. I might be wrong. It probably might be that I should do something different. maybe, who knows. There is a code for the button here on my 46. Let me show you. But a lot of the codes we have here, so it's a passive and sporadic, but we have loads of codes on the car that are passive and sporadic, so it might be just a glitch. There's other passive and sporadic codes here along this on the modules. Now so just to kind of highlight the fact that I don't think there's nothing wrong with the button, but we do have these lights on. So we do have engine light, we do have ESP light on, and we have parking brake on, even though the parking brake actuates absolutely perfect. So the parking brake is now on, so if I take it off, it comes off okay. Be off clear. So it actuates absolutely perfect. Okay. I'm not sure if this is for an automatic start and stop. I think this is for the automatic parking brake. Okay, so but if we go to parking brake, do I have? So if I go to parking brake, and you're gonna see, I want to show you this because a lot of the modules is what they report. So is that active, and then tells me to read the DTCs in the engine module. So all these codes are related. Now if I go to, let me show, if I go to brakes, which is going to be my ESP, it also shows, so it tells me to read the parking brake, but the parking brake tells me to read the engine module, and it also tells me to read the engine module. So all these lights are related to the engine. Now let's gonna go to the engine and see what we have, and try to figure out why it's causing these lights on. So the codes are these two codes. So P0110 or code 00257 and P0087 or 00135. So the first one is for my airflow sensor, no signal or communication, and the second one is for my fuel pressure, too low. So let's kind of load some live data and see if that correlates, if we have anything that correlates to these codes. Okay guys, and I definitely went through the live data, believe me or not. Was a little bit of a up and down on the values for the airflow meter. So the values were a little bit inconsistent, just jumping up and down. For the fuel pressure, the fuel pressure is always a little bit lower for about half a bar, if that. I don't think that will be the main issue. But the revs, one thing I've noticed as well was that the revs was always a little bit sort of, they were not steady. So not overcomplicating things too much, I went on an engine bay to do a quick inspection, and let me show you what I found. Right, I took it off, this tape, because this pipe was actually taped. So it was like that and was taped off, was taped with that. Seriously. So I'm going to try to repair this hose, but in a slightly different way. So we're going to repair this, but slightly different. Ideally you would replace this. I'm not going to be here pretending you wouldn't, and now I will actually, but just for test purpose I'm going to do something. I'll show you in a minute what we're going to do, and how we're going to repair the hose. Okay, and here it is, the hose repaired. You probably could even tell the hose has been repaired if I didn't tell you. So what I've done on this side, so this is the side we repaired, I've done it with tube shrinking, and then I pull this layer over the bit of the tube shrinking, and it looks like new. Now the tube shrinking I use, guys, and this is very important, is the one with glue inside. So you have two types of tube shrinking, or at least the ones I know, is the one without and with glue. The one without glue, which looks like this one they used here just to make a better finish, is without the glue. The one with glue, I don't know if you're going to be able to you kind of can see the glue just starts to come out right there at the end. Anyway, is the one with the glue. So as it shrinks, obviously it tights and it glues at the same time. And I'm going to show you that the hose is completely sealed, so I'm going to block this side and I'm going to blow on this side. obviously you can't really see from that side, but it is 100% sealed. And between this and the new one, to be honest, not much of a difference. So let's gonna put this back in and see what result that gives us. Okay, and hose is back in place, engine is running perfect. I did a throttle body adaptation just in case, because I don't know, obviously someone has been taping that hose and I don't know what else has been done. I also got a can of, let me show you, of Easy Start. Actually, by the way, this afternoon I need to finish the wiring on this Seat, although this is not making to a video. I'm just connecting, it's a race car, I'm just connecting a nitro and loads of switch to turn on nitro on and off. I've been modifying the steering wheel buttons so we can actually open the valves for the nitro on the steering controls, old steering controls for the radio. So I modified the buttons inside the steering wheel, loads of stuff to do on this car, but that is not making to videos because, well, it's not what my channel is about. Anyway, I don't even know why I mentioned this. So yeah, I sprayed a lot of that around the air system on this car. There is two auxiliary pumps for the air system right by the bulkhead, right here at the back. So I sprayed a lot of that around to see if was any leaks, if the car would change the tone. Nothing, absolutely perfect. So it looks like everything is good. Scanned the car, only 2 faults came back. Air conditioning, I think it needs a recharge, and the chassis is coming up with a battery, with a low battery. Actually, if I open and close the door, let me see if I can show you that. If I open the door and close, there we go. Please change key battery. So it's coming up with a low battery for one of the keys. As for the rest, guys, running fine. So clear the faults, and all the faults are gone. As you can see, there is no faults now, other than the fuel, as usual. To go for a test drive, I'm definitely gonna have to put fuel on this because it's literally, well, 5 miles range. So I'm definitely gonna have to put fuel on this. But I want to go for a test drive, just see what it does. Okay, don't know if it's gonna be today. As I said, I want to finish this Seat today, and that's not going to be today. So, but stay tuned with the magics of video editing and YouTube. As you know, you're going to see me next driving this. Okay, guys, and I just came to put some fuel because this thing was completely dry. I gave a scan just now, literally is no codes, and as you can see, there is no lights, no nothing. I now have fuel for 45 miles. I just put 20 quid, I think. So we're gonna go now for a drive and see what the car does, and I will report in a minute. By the way, this is not the following day or even that day. This is actually the day after I finished the Seat. I mentioned on the Seat video I'll be testing it straight after that. I didn't have a chance for other reasons, so this is actually the following day, and it's actually my last day before I start shifts tomorrow. So girls are at school, so let's gonna go for a drive on this 4.2 V8 and see what we can do with it. See if we can make the lights come back on, or if the airflow fault was purely because we're sucking air through that hose. The fuel rail pressure could have been there for ages. I don't know. I could have checked the freeze frame data. I never did. But yeah, let's gonna go for a spin and see what it does. And you need to love this weather. It's raining. Oh crap. This thing is nice. Not as fast as my BMW, that's for sure, as my M5, but this thing grabs the road. My M5 with this weather, if I would have done what I just did with this one after the traffic lights, right there at the back, you probably can't see it. Anyway, if I would have done what I did with this, my M5, the traction control would be going like crazy, and the rear of the car would just be going side to side a little bit. This thing grabs the road. Obviously it's the Quattro, so it definitely grabs the road. It's really nice, but not as powerful, that's for sure. But it's nice, quite nice. I don't even know why I mentioned this. Anyway, I drove now for 5 minutes maybe. 5-10 minutes possibly. Not even that, 5 minutes maybe. Came here, already stop and start the engine, and and so far so good. So I gave it a restart, it's fine. So I'm gonna carry on driving like if I stole it, and yeah, that's it. See what happens. Before we take off, actually, let's gonna go back. This is the screen from when I left the petrol station. Let's just log in into the ECU again. Read the codes. I was to do a service on this car this afternoon. Still no codes. I just went this morning buying the oil, filters, spark plugs, etc. to do a full service on it, but it looks like it's not going to happen now. But at least I can test the car and see if everything is okay. That's nice. And the X5 has been dropped, which is going to be my next job. But for now, I've just got back home. I drove, damn it, where's the parking? I drove for about 40 minutes, give or take. I've only reset the odometer later on, so I've done about 6.6 miles. I've done probably about 15 miles. I literally, guys, part of this driving was like if I stole it on those back roads. I've redlined the car a few times. I really drove it harsh, and then these last few miles I just drove the car sort of cruising along. As you can see, everything's good, no problems. Let's gonna give it a last. Let me take these off now. The maxi seat is not gonna go anywhere now. So let's gonna come out of the CU. Let's log in again. After the last time I've showed you when I've restarted the engine, after that I did it another 2 times or 3 times with the engine off for about 2 or 3 minutes in between, so to make sure we will do a kind of a fresh start every time. And looks good, absolutely perfect. So the plan now was to do a service, as I said, oil, spark plugs, you name it. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen because, well, the weather is not helping. So I think I'm gonna focus a little bit on that X5 and see what is wrong with it. As for this video, guys, I know it's nothing really special. After all, we're just a broken hose. I still gonna publish because I've repaired hoses like that a few times in the past very successfully, and is as good as new. And I just thought I would show you that technique in case if you guys when have issues like this, you guys just go and buy a new hose. Don't take me wrong, I would happily go and buy a new hose, but that, believe me, is as good as new. If you have the right size of that thermal retractile tubing with the glue, make sure you use the one with the glue because it seals properly. You can do that and repair pipes, no issues at all, guys, no issues at all. So that's it. Looks like was just that hose broken and was sucking here and messing the airflow meter readings. So that's it for this video, guys. Let's gonna move the cars and get this car ready for the maintenance, for the oil change, although it's not gonna happen today, but it is what it is. So with no further ado, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope there's some information on it that you can find useful. Maybe you learned something, who knows. If you do still have any questions, any comments, put them below. And like always, thank you for watching.